Awesome. Thank you all so much for having me today. I am very excited to go through admin tools with you. Like Haley said, my name is Randee Miller, and I'm the Director of GIS Services at GEO Jobe. One of our popular tools is admin tools, and we're going to be focusing on that, but I'm going to give you guys just like a little bit of a background about GEO Jobe. And while I do my presentation and the demo, I'm going to turn off my camera just like y'all have yours off, and then I'll turn it back on when questions are here. Okay. Just a little background about GEO Jobe. We were founded in Nashville, Tennessee by Neil Jobe, who originally offered professional services GIS training and sold GIS equipment. We have since moved our headquarters to Gulfport, Mississippi, and we focus on our services and offering a suite of products to simplify the lives of GIS users, which we will go over today. We're also a platinum partner of Esri and have been a partner of Esri since 2002. We also are early adapters of Esri's newer technology. So if anything ever comes out, we are usually the beta testers that help Esri to find the bugs first. GEO Jobe also is broken up into 5 different divisions. We have a support division that helps support our products. So if you ever have any questions or need help with anything, they're always there on call to assist. GIS Services is my division that I manage, but we help automate workflows, build out-of-the-box solutions for GIS users. We also help build out applications for stakeholders. We help clean up data, manage your data, manage environments such as Enterprise and your ArcGIS Online. And we do a whole bunch more other than just GIS. We also have another division for software development. They help build out custom applications for our clients. So if we can't build it out of the box, then our software development team can definitely build it for you in the custom. We also have a UAV division. So if you ever need aerials flown or need something inspected, for example, we do utility inspections with drones, classification for tree canopy, and all kinds of other stuff. We also have a data science division. The data scientist, he helps tremendously when it comes to coding, working with AI, machine learning models. So we all work together, but our data scientist definitely helps us keep everything clean and helps us automate processes. So I'm going to take you through our products. We have admin tools, which allows administrators to interact with content and apply changes in bulk operation rather than in singular interactions. And we'll go through this, and I'll also give you guys a live demo of this tool because this is one of my favorites and I use literally on a daily basis. Backup.org is one of my other favorite tools. So when I work with clients, if I'm cleaning up any content or going in and, let's say, making changes to an application, I'll go ahead and back up that application, or I'll back up their whole entire organization of their items, any maps, applications, or anything. And that way, if anything goes wrong or something happens or I delete something and they're like, oh, wait, no, I actually wanted that, I can restore it with Backup.org as well. This is also very beneficial if you have an ArcGIS Online account, because once you delete something, they do have the recycle bin, but it only lasts so many days in the recycle bin, and then it's permanently deleted. Where if Backup.org, if you're using it on a schedule or backing up content, then you're able to restore whatever was deleted, even if it was months or years, depending on how long you want to keep your backup. CleanMyOrg helps administrators have access to on-demand and scheduled scans of their environments, such as like Enterprise or ArcGIS Online, based on a variety of different parameters that set up a healthy organization and can start remediation of any issues that arise. So CleanMyOrg is very good about if you want to get emails based on your environment. So let's say one of your feature services are broken in your map or something ends up happening, it'll send you an email depending on what parameters you set and let you know, hey, this is broken or this needs to be removed out of your organization. It also helps you with users. So like when users log in, it can help you clean them up or also manage your users. Scheduler is one of our more robust tools. This one is for Enterprise and ArcGIS Online, which, by the way, all of our products are for both environments. But it allows users to create, manage, and deploy a plethora of administrative tasks that can help ensure overall environment security, performance, and optimization. One of my favorite features of Scheduler is, for example, it can tell you, so like, let's say you have it set up and one of your feature services go down and it's an emergency, like let's say a hurricane came in and it hit and everybody's trying to hit your service. That service goes down. Scheduler will not only notify you that a service went down, but it also will restart your service for you. As long as you have it set up to do so, but you can pick certain services that you don't want to go down or that need to be monitored, and it will send you an email. Another part that I like about Scheduler too is I work with a lot of tax assessors. And so let's say somebody by accident posts a layer that has sensitive information, such as like social security numbers or even credit card information. Scheduler will not only notify you, but it'll also take down the service. And so that way it's not sitting there in your organization for everybody to see or possibly to the public. This is just what backup.org, what the interface looks like. So that way you can see how you create a backup, you can schedule backups. The logs will show you, for example, how many errors occurred when trying to back up, or it will give you a log of information of what it did back up. The restore content, that's where you would go and select a backup or an item that you're wanting to restore to either your current environment or to a new environment. So for example, if people are migrating from one ArcGIS Online to another because they got a new ArcGIS Online, we'll back up their content and then restore it to the new environment. You can also do this with Enterprise. So some people do Enterprise clean installs. So they'll have like 10.9.1 as Enterprise, and they'll just spin up a new server, do a clean install, and it'll be like 11.1, and you can restore the content over there and move it. CleanMyOrg, this is just so you guys can see the parameters where you can turn them on, send email notifications for like the web maps with broken references, registered services with invalid responses. But you can see the range of parameters that you can set up, and you can also do this on a schedule or have the scan history. And then this is also Scheduler, which we went over most of this, but you can see that it's a very similar interface as our other tools where you can set up tasks, see logs, and also have a schedule set up. I was going to go ahead and take you through just some projects that we also do. So for example, story maps. Gulfport Airport had us create a story map for them to display one of their advantage sites. So that way they can share this now with people that are interested in buying their property, and it has all the utility information, it has the noise contours, where it falls into, and then all information as far as reports that may be needed for people wanting to buy the site. So I just wanted to take you through some stuff that we already do. And then also custom toolbox with custom scripts. We also create these for automating. So that way GIS people don't have to manually go through all the tools in the toolbox. And a process that usually takes people hours, sometimes we can narrow it down to minutes just by creating these tools. And then I wanted to share this with you guys before we went on to our live demo. We do have a blog. If you guys wanted to, I can put the link in the chat. So that way you guys can go on there. We share how-tos. We show off what Esri has just come out with, or we'll discuss things that we've ran into. So for example, like if I run into roadblocks sometimes and I can't find it in the Esri community, but I found a workaround, we'll release an article in our blog about the roadblock and then also how we resolved it. So if you guys are ever looking or trying to troubleshoot something, sometimes we'll have a blog article. You guys are more than welcome to go in there and search for it. But we also go over our toolbox too. Okay, let's go ahead and start admin tools. So this is admin tools, and you have a home page. And right now I'm currently logged in as myself. And right here is where you can recache all of your content. So that way you can make sure that you have the most up-to-date and latest and greatest when it comes to your items and maps in case you've had it open for a little bit. But we also have a favorites tab, and I'm going to go through some of these tools because these are my favorites and the ones that I use pretty frequently. But this is our items tab. So over here is ways that are workflows that can help you manage your items. So that way it's a little bit quicker for you. Again, this can be used in ArcGIS Online or Enterprise. But for example, you can see that we have like browse items. And this is where you can come in and you can browse your items. And right here, if you click the drop down, it has view item dependencies, view item metadata, view and edit item data, which is right here. So that's just the JSON. And you can also do the data part too if you want to edit anything in the JSON. So if you were swapping out anything or information. It also has generate an item short URL. So let's say you just wanted to generate a little URL so that way you don't have to share the rest URL. You could. You can also open up in map viewer, open in scene viewer, or view details if you wanted to, which this just takes you to the detail page. But sometimes when I'm cleaning up client content, I like to use, so if I come in here and let's say that, for example, this web map, I'm trying to go in and make sure that I don't delete certain content that's tied to this, or I want to see what is tied to this, I can come here and click view item dependencies, and it will tell me everything that is tied to it. So right here is the feature service that's inside of it, the base map that it's leveraging, and again, the base map information for the map service part here. Also, if you have, let me go back over here. If you are cleaning up your content, admin tools is very helpful in this area. So I'm just going to select all my content. I can only view what is out there. So like, for example, this layer is just sitting out there. It's not tied to a map or anything. So I can go in and I can investigate this layer and decide if it's worth saving or not and delete it. But this tells me that this layer right here is tied to this map. So I know I don't want to delete this disaster damage one because it's connected. If I do, then it's going to break it, of course, for the feature service. But you can at least see all of your content and items that are inside your AGOL. Mine, of course, does not have a whole lot in there. Usually I try keeping it clean, and I added all this stuff for this demo. So I don't have very much to show in there. But that is one of my favorite tools when it comes to cleaning up content. Inside the items tab too, you have copy items, registered services, thumbnail generator. You also have all of these for exporting too. Like if you want to export anything from your feature services or map services, you can see that these can be exported to CSV. Update. So this is for like moving items, rewiring layer info and web app builder and dashboard widgets. This one is very useful. They just added this. I can't remember how long ago, but it wasn't too terribly long ago that we got that one. But you can see all of the tools that are inside of here. And these right here are most of the ones that we're going to go over today that I use a lot. And you can see that I have a lot of favorites in here. But adding layers to web maps, removing layers from web maps, these are very useful. I don't know if you guys have ever had the same layer and it's in like 20 maps because they are shared differently, but removing and adding layers to 20 maps, these are very beneficial because, for example, I can just click add layer, and let's say this new one right here, I want to add to a map, which I will show you guys real quick. So this is the map that I'm selecting. It does not have this layer inside of it right now. If I come over here and I select disaster damage new and it's a feature service, I click next and it's like, okay, yeah, I want both of these. And then I get to select which map I want. And so, for example, this damage map demo is the one that I'm going to select, which is the one that I have opened over here. I'm going to click next, and it's going to tell me what it's doing. And then I'm going to click run tool. And so it says it did it successfully. So all I'm going to do is come over here and reload. And voila, it added them. And so now I have my layers inside of my map. And if I had 20 of these, I could have just selected all 20 maps that I wanted that one layer added to, and then click run tool, and it would have added them all. Another one of my favorites is this copy web map symbology and pop-up. So inside your map, you can see that right now this symbology is just gray dots for the location. But my original layer that I had inside here, it had symbology. And it also had pop-up information. So if I click on it, click on the pop-up, it looks like this. Where if I click on the gray dot, it looks like this. And so let's say I wanted to copy the symbology and pop-ups over there. I'm just going to save my map just to make sure. And then I'm going to come back over to admin tools, and I'm going to select web map. Demo. Okay, so right here you can see it has my disaster damage new, which is the layer that we added from admin tools. And then it also has my old one. This one, I want to keep the existing symbology and pop-up. I don't want to mess with that, but I want to change this one. So I'm going to come in, and right here you can see location. I'm going to select that one, and the same thing for extent. It has copy, pop-up, and symbology. I'm going to click next, and now it's going to tell me again what it's doing and what it's changing it to. And then I just click run tool. Says it was successful. And so now I'm going to go back over here and just refresh. And you can see if I turn this one off, now my new layer that's inside here is the same symbology as my layer that I had down here. And that one is turned off. If I click on this, it has the same pop-up. And again, this works for multiple maps. So let's say that you had to add the new layer to all 20 maps, and then you want to copy the symbology over and the pop-up, you can replace those just by running that one tool. So since we did that, now I have this in here, and I want to remove that layer. And again, you can do all of this in admin tools. I could have added the layer, changed the symbology, and then come in here and removed it. And so now I'm going to select the same map. And I'm going to say, I do not want these. Next. And then it's going to tell me what it's doing, and I can run the tool, and then it tells me it was successful. And then if I come back over here and I reload, oh man, maybe I should click save. Let me try that one more time. Okay, remove layers from web map. It is freezing on me for some reason. Okay, let's try that again. So we're going to select that map. Okay, it did show it removed it. So if I reload, oh, it did remove it. It just has the group. So there you go. And then if you want to move these to the group, then you could. So if I want to move this, yep. And move this one, yep. Voila. It is the same. And then if I go back to admin tools, we're going to go back to another one of my favorites. So if I come back over here, we've added, we've removed, we've copied the symbology. You can update editing capabilities for feature layers too. So let's say you published out quite a few layers and you're just wanting to go through and select all the layers that you want to enable editing. You can go through and select them. And right here, you can put enable or disable. If I select enable, so I have 2 layers selected right now that I'm doing this for, by the way. And I can do attributes and geometry, attributes only. It's the same options that you usually would have in the settings. I can just do this for a whole bunch of layers instead of having to go individually on AGUL and do this configuration in the settings. I can also check right here if I want to keep track of changes to the data, add, update, or delete features. And then I just click next. And I also run tool. And it's probably because these are already enabled on these. And then another one is update field domains for feature layers. So I am going to show you guys right now. This is the new layer. So this is the one that we're going to work in. I have a couple of clients that have the same field duplicated, but with the same domains, and they're in ArcGIS Online. So when I have to update a domain or add any information to it, I have to come down here and let's just say, I'm just going to add you, Haley, because you're like right there. Let's say Haley is one of our field workers and I am going to add her to the list. So in ArcGIS Online, currently when you add a user to the domain, you have to drag it if you want it to be in alphabetical order. And so I was having to do this. This client had 40 different fields that had the same domains in them. And so for all 40 fields, if I updated one thing and had to put it in alphabetical order, I had to go do that manually for every single field. And so I submitted feature requests to our products, And now you can add the domain to one of your fields. So for example, we added Haley, but she is not in any of these other fields. But if I come over to admin tools, I can do update field and domains. I can select that layer that I just did those changes to. And there we go. And then, for example, I need get fields. So I'm going to come over here, copy this, get fields. And 0. And I'm going to select field crew right here because that is the one that I updated the domain for. Click next. And then click next. I don't need that one. Yep. And then run tool. Says it was successful. And then we're going to go back over to data, fields. And then you can see that Haley is here, Haley is here, Haley is here, and in all the other fields. It went through and updated the domain.
I'm in on all now.
Oh, yeah. Now we can assign you some work. And then let's see. So another one that is also one of my favorites that I use with my clients is this update web map space maps. So I know that a lot of people fly aerial imagery every year, and it is very important to have accurate imagery inside some of your field collection maps. When my clients do this update every single year, we used to have to go through each map and manually update those base maps. But now you can update the base maps by selecting this tool in admin tools, and then you can select which maps you want to do. You can select multiple or you can select one. I'm going to go ahead and select the one that we've been working with. But for example, it will give you a list of all of your base maps that you have in there. Right now, we have this Tennessee map, base map for our PSAs. But you can select any of Esri's or any options you have. I'm just going to go ahead. So I'm going to show you guys. This is the current base map. I'm going to go ahead and select this imagery one. That's Esri's. And I'm going to click Run Tool. Says completed successfully. And so now if I go back over here and I refresh, I have the imagery base map. So this saved us a lot of time when we had like 20 plus maps and like you have applications tied to those maps and all of that stuff. You guys all know when you guys get updated data or updated base maps, you have to go and do it for every single one. Well, in admin tools, you can bulk not only update data, but you can also bulk update the base maps. You can update items owner. So I do use this tool also. You just select, for example, let's do our project area since we are working with this feature service. I can assign it to anybody. And so inside here, I can select somebody from our organization, say, yes, I want to give them this layer, and I could run tool. This is Chelsea, our project manager, by the way, and she does not have the correct privileges. So it will also tell you that when you try assigning it to a different owner. But if you click over here on the details, you guys can also see unable to reassign item, target user does not have privileges. to own items. So if you guys ever get warnings too, I just wanted you guys to see this. You can assign it to other people, but it will tell you if those privileges aren't there. But let's say I go back and so the items, my favorites. I can again select one of these, click next, and let's pick someone else. And then you guys can see that it doesn't give an error. Complete. Another one also is, for example, if you guys had a whole bunch of layers and maps that you guys needed to share with one group, you guys can also select all of those, which if I go back over to items, why? There we go. So right here, share items with groups. You can mass select also what you guys are wanting. So let's say I just want to select all these and I click next. I can select multiple groups that I want to share this to. So let's say you have like an office group or certain clients, even like we have client groups that we have set up, and let's say they have 3 of them. We can select all the layers that we want to share with them in all 3 groups that it needs to be shared to. I'm not going to run that though because I am not about to share it to somebody. But as you guys can see also, there's the tab for the groups. You can create groups, you can browse groups, you can copy, export groups to JSON or a CSV. It has tons of options in here that I just wanted you guys to go ahead and see, and also about adding the tags. The same thing about users. So this is very helpful for administrators. Let's say, for example, somebody quits. And so you need to move all of their content to a different user, and then you also need to remove that user. This users tab will help you move the content so you can migrate users, but you can also update any information about the users. But right here, you can delete users. And I'm going to select. Let's just select Chelsea again. I don't think she has any content though. But right here, you can delete that user. If they had content, it would tell you that they had content, and you can also move it. We're not going to run that tool, but that is something that you guys can see in there. You can also invite users to groups. So let's say you have multiple groups that you want to invite one user to. You can also do that in the bulk administrative admin tools. So right here, you can select who you want to, and then you can go and select your groups. And then, for example, it has all these other options. There are a lot of options in admin tools. One of my favorites, though, is the view item dependencies. I know I showed you guys that already, but if you select your content, then you can see what's connected. Well, they just came out last year with this 3D knowledge graph where you can select your content and you can also see it in 3D if you wanted to. So for example, those feature services that aren't tied to something, they're just showing up as random little specks in like space, telling me that they are not connected to anything. But you can see right here, if I zoom in and I hover over it, this is my map. And it's telling me that those feature services in the base maps are feeding that map. And you can also like drag it around if you want to. But this is a really neat way to also view your data. So that way you can see what is tied, especially if you have like hundreds to thousands of items. It helps you know, for example, these random specs that are out here, this is just taking up space. This feature service is eating up credits on our AGL, and it is not being used and needs to be deleted. But you can also see what is important and what is feeding everything. And if I had an application tied to this, it would also have an application off of it. But this is one thing that they did add to admin tools that I think is pretty cool. You can also, if I scroll down, you can view it differently. So you can view top down graph. You can also do inwards like this. But they have different options if you wanted to. You can also save or export inside here too. If you were cleaning up your ArcGIS Online and you needed a CSV for your dependencies, so that way somebody can go through a list and be like, yes, no, this is why I want deleted, and they can see all of that information. But that is admin tools. Like a quick little run through. And let me go. And that is all I had today. Do you guys have any questions or want to see anything?
Randee, there's one question in the chat.
Yes, let me go look.
So I'll read it. Thanks, Matt, for being on the webinar today. So Matt O'Neill asked the question, does the add domain from CSV or adjusting domains work the same with data hosted through ArcGIS portal?
I would have to double check because this is the ArcGIS Online version that I'm using, but I am pretty sure it still updates the domains. Let me get that for you.
And while she's getting that, does anybody, would anybody like to come off of mute and ask Randee any questions verbally?
Yeah, I just have a question. I was wondering, with the ability to invite users, is there any way to tell with admin tools whether the users have, or whether the invite went through? Because like right now, I send a lot of invites to external users, and the invite went through, or I have to remember that. I have no way of going back and looking and to say, oh yeah, I sent this on this date. Is there anything that logs that kind of when the invitations were sent out or anything?
It gives a green checkbox when it is submitted,
Okay.
but let me see. I don't think it has a history thing in here.
If
to like keep
as long I think as long as it's, we have a record that we sent it, because sometimes someone will say, well, I didn't get it, and it's just nice to be able to say, well, we did send it, but
yeah, if you wanted proof like of sending it, I know that it will say it's successfully completed when you invite a user to a group, and you could take the screenshot and send that to them as like documentation that was sent. But inside the tool itself, it does not, I think, keep history of what tools were submitted.
Oh, okay.
That's a great question, though, and I am writing that down because that would be a great feature to have.
Yeah, well, yeah, we kind of run into that quite a bit. You'll send something and somebody will just not look for it, and then they'll say that it never came in.
I've had that happen a couple of times to myself too, so I completely understand that.
Yeah.
Good question, Ryan.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Thanks.
Anybody else want to hit Randee up? As you were going through this presentation, Randee, I was like, where was this like 6 years ago, right? Like, where was the education? I think we can all say that we have, all struggled with going in and setting privileges per feature layer. I am, yeah, I do see the question. I am so sorry. I will probably butcher the name, but Nusrat?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Okay, thank you for being on the webinar today. So her question is, can the tool keep log of edits that you made to a specific layer or a web map?
That is a great question. I think it goes back to logging that history of what tools were run, like which tools you ran. And currently, I think it just runs the tool and just tells you if it completed successfully. I think that's what you're talking about, because our backup my org and clean my org, those keep logs, and so does scheduler. But the ArcGIS online one, I do not think it keeps history, because it's also web-based too. But that is a great question. And that is a feature that I am going to ask our products about now, because that would be a good idea to keep track of things. And that way you had records of it, and all three of our other tools do it. But I also know that this is web-based and all of the other ones are on your local machine. So I think that's the difference.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And to answer your question, the very first one, our products got back to me and she said that it will work with services and enterprise. So yes.
So that was for Matt.
Yes.
Yeah, I only asked because when you're working with Portal and you have data that's hosted through an enterprise, we can update domains, but when it's just a hosted feature layer that's hosted just on Portal, we can't like do a mass import of domains. So I didn't know if that was something that we can do on multiple domains of data that's just hosted on the portal and is not an enterprise GDB.
Yes. And she said that is possible, and you can do that for importing for the hosted service in enterprise.
And then I didn't see it on there, but with those domains, are you able to easily sort through this, or is that something that still needs to be done manually through the portal?
That is something that you have to do manually. So you'll set up one, and then you'll be able to copy all the others. But if you did it in CSV and you imported it like you're talking about, then it would just have to be done in the CSV.
Okay, thank you.
Good questions. For sure.
Yeah, these are great questions.
You got Randee taking good notes too, guys. So
Yeah. No, and we love feedback too. So like if there's not a tool in here, or let's say you guys are doing something manually and you don't see it, if you let me know or shoot me an email, we do have right here also, if you do have admin tools, the requested tool or report a bug, you can do a feature request and you can type in your message here, and you can also attach any information that you have or pictures. So that way it helps our developers. But also, for example, like I had a client that was looking for something, but they also had admin tools, and I was able to explain to products and show them, and they were able to add that feature for the client. So that way, something that was taking him manually, like time to do it manually in hours, now he can do it within minutes, literally in admin tools. So if you guys have anything or see anything that you guys are also interested in adding as a feature, we do have feature requests. Or you can also just message me and I'll reach out to our products and see, maybe one of our tools even already does it and it's in Clean My Org or something like that, or Scheduler.
Wow, I really wish Esri had something like that feature request tool.
Don't we all? But also, I mean, this is what keeps us in business too, because we've got tools to help you in Esri's environment. But yeah, no, that tool is super helpful.
All right, we got about 10 minutes left on the hour. And does anybody have any last questions for Randee? If not, definitely get into a couple of announcements. So if you guys have not already joined our LinkedIn group, we would encourage you to follow us. We put webinars and our conference dates and things of importance out there. Rob can probably speak a little bit further on that, but additionally, we also have a website if you would like to check us out. We are the Memphis Area Geographic Information Council, not to be confused with the other Magic group. But our website, I will put that in the chat for you guys to go and check it out. We would love for everybody to participate and be a member of Magic. We all have great ideas and great content, and we deeply appreciate you, Randee, for coming on today and giving us a little bit of peek into the admin tools that GEO Jobe has to offer. I know from just my limited experience and really getting into AGOL, those tools would be a lifesaver in terms of time. So that is awesome. Randee has included the GEO Jobe blog website as well in the chat. And we also have an email list in the chat as well if you would like to subscribe to any future events if you're not on LinkedIn. So does anybody have any lasting comments before we hop off of here? Again, everybody, thank you for your time, and we'll see you next time. And thank you for attending the May webinar.